Hello YouTube family, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Imani and you are watching Faith by Design. Today I'll be answering the next question in the hashtag ODBJ series, our different budgeting journeys started by Budgeting April. Today's question is method, the method that we use to budget. So in my first video, I answered the question why I started budgeting. And that was because I was tired of living paycheck to paycheck. In the second video, I answered the how did I start budgeting? So I had been budgeting for a few years, but it just wasn't working out completely. And so I went on YouTube and typed in how to budget paycheck to paycheck, which is the method that I actually prefer to budget. I had tried different methods in the past, the monthly budget, and just trying out various ways to budget that. And yeah, it wasn't clicking. So when I got on YouTube to search, came up with several videos that I watched, and I go into more detail in my previous videos. But once I found the channels that really helped me to see it as a full picture, a full view of from start to finish, how to budget by paycheck, then it kind of clicked for me. And so because I budget, or because I get paid bi-weekly, and I have both a part-time, I have both a full-time and part-time income. And so I'm a medical coder. And so my part-time income is a little bit more variable. So I don't really know exactly how much I'm paid until I get my paycheck. Usually it fluctuates based on if it's in season, how many charts, if we have bonuses or not. So I like to budget by paycheck because I have more control over what's coming in and how much I need to set aside for the bills that I'm responsible for. So what really helped me with my method was actually writing everything down. Let's start with that. So when we create our budget, we usually will write everything down, our bills that are due, as well as the pay period, or not the pay period, the due date, and the amount. So once I do that, what I would do is write basically a preliminary budget on paper. It looks something like this on paper, not fancy. It just has a running total of my income that I'm expecting to get paid, and then the bills. And as you can see, it doubles as my grocery list. And so that's what I use to do my preliminary budget with. And then once I have a framework, I usually will take it to the calendar. Now I started with this happy planner once I felt comfortable doing the budget, and then I wanted to have a calendar to keep track of my bills. So I bought a happy planner because it looks so cute, and I decided to get another one. I think this one I got in 2020, 2021, something like that. And then, of course, because I went on YouTube and saw something new, I was like, let me see about using a different planner. And so this is the current one that I'm in now, the Organized Money. And this is a pretty good planner. I do feel, though, that it's, I mean, as far as the paycheck framework, paycheck budget framework, I think it has everything that I need in order to budget by paycheck. So it has my income, bills, the total fixed, the variable expenses, the total variable. And I had never budgeted this way before. I would just write down my bills and my income, subtract, and then that was my remaining amount. And then I didn't keep track of that. And so I really didn't know where my money was going. So with this paycheck budget framework, I was able to actually keep track of, one, my variable expenses separate from the bills. I had never done that before. And then it actually has the sinking funds labeled. Now it doesn't have savings challenges, but I really feel like those are one and the same. And then it also has the extra debt payments here. And then to create a zero-based budget, you have your total income, expenses, sinking funds, and extra debt. So I do like that because you can see everything on one page, and then how much you can work with from your paycheck. So once I get that squared away, writing down all of my bills based on my paycheck. And if you see here, I usually will have on the calendar when things are due. And one thing that I was not doing previously was being able to look at each pay period when my bills were due, and then trying to change those bills based on what amount is in my paycheck. So if I do like a month ahead, knowing my bills that are expected from that paycheck, then I'm able to rearrange the bills that are due so that way certain bills I can be more flexible with. So that really helped with my method. The next thing that was something that I implemented to basically help me with budgeting was keeping track of my expenses. Now, previously, I did not do a great job of keeping track of my expenses, and it showed because I would have more month left at the end of the money, as I would like to say, or Dave Ramsey says. And so once I kept track of my expenses, I was able to see really where my money was going. So I actually have two methods that I use to keep track of my expenses. One is I will write them down here in my planner, and then I'll total up each category based on the expense. So for example, on 10/7, I went to the gas station at Kroger and got some gas or fuel. That was $49.45. So I just go through and add up all of the categories for fuel and write that here, my total. And then my remaining is the amount that I budgeted minus the amount or the total from this spreadsheet. And then that will show my remaining amount that I have left to budget for the next week until I get paid again. Eating out, so I have $32.41 remaining. Groceries, $51.20. And here what I did was I added my eating out remaining amount to the grocery remaining amount to have $80 left to fund groceries for the rest of the week or going into next week until the next pay period. So that's what I like to do to keep track of my expenses, to kind of see, well, what's remaining and how much is left, so that way I can kind of stretch it to the next time I get paid. That's something that I wasn't doing before, and so that really has helped me to have my money stretch from paycheck to paycheck. The next thing that I did was to implement savings challenges and sinking funds, and those have been a real help because I was, like I said before, not really keeping track of my expenses and where my money was going, and so it would just be spent. And so now that I have started to implement these binders as of this year, this is something new that I've started doing. It's really been helpful to save for those things that are coming up. So for instance, in this binder, which is the first binder that I started with when I started this channel, and now it has grown to 4 binders, but we're not going to talk about that. So slowly I'm starting to become obsessed. But we have the senior envelope, which is one that is very important because I have a senior and things come up all the time that we're finding that we have to pay for. It's just a great idea to start having a senior year. I would recommend actually when your kids are born, because you can never have enough money saved for your kids. And so this has been a helpful envelope. And Christmas is another sinking fund that we utilize. We've started earlier this year. Each year we're starting to get earlier and earlier in planning for Christmas, which is great. And if you don't know what a sinking fund is, it's basically a smaller savings goal that you have to fund something throughout the year, so that way it's not going to come one time out of your paycheck, but you can start saving smaller amounts over time so that it can add up and you'll have it fully funded. And when it's fully funded, you can use it for that expense or for that goal. Gifts, self-care, school, all of these things that we have in this general savings funds envelope or folder. Then this is my home binder, which is another new thing that I've implemented, and I love it so much because it is a way for us to save for things for our home. So eventually we want to renovate some areas in our home. So we have the renovation envelope, the maintenance, which is good because Now that it's getting cooler outside, we have to get our furnace maintained, and so that's something that will be coming up. Any repairs that we may run across, this is a good envelope decor. Gadgets, this will be something that will come up if I want to get a new Swiffer mop or a new vacuum or anything. Furniture, this will be something that you could use a sinking fund for in order to save for your furniture. Household, and then eventually I want to get ahead on our utilities and then eventually all of our bills. But this is a great thing to have if you're a homeowner. I'm finding it is really, really great, and I'm excited to start stuffing that more. So this is my savings challenge binder, and this is what I use to stuff any of the savings challenges that I have started doing, which is another thing that I've really implemented and I'm enjoying because it's a fun way to save for things that are coming up, or for bills, or for other sinking funds that you want to fund. It's just another way to make it exciting. So one of the savings challenges that I'm currently doing is this one right here, the Show Me the Love Challenge. You may be familiar with this challenge, but this will be used for my debt, extra debt that we're paying off. So that is a great way to just make it fun. And I'm excited so far to be able to make a payment when I get to this point. I'll take the money out of this folder, the debt folder, and then we'll add the money to my account and make a payment and start over with this row and so on and so forth. So that is something that I'm really excited about. I also have a savings challenge for taxes, and we do have one for our emergency fund, just to add to our emergency fund. And then we have the Larry Bucks savings challenge that I'm doing as well with my daughter, and this is helping her learn how to save as well as funding her savings account. So I'm excited to continue with that. So as you can see, savings challenges are a great way to incorporate all of your extra money into any specific categories that you want to use for a purpose. So with the tracking of expenses, I forgot to mention that I also track expenses using EveryDollar, which is by Dave Ramsey. And this is a great way to keep track of your expenses while you're out and about or on the go. I like to keep track of like my gas, my groceries. But what I do is once I make my budget, I will put everything in the EveryDollar app, my income, all of the expense categories, all of the bills. And that way, when I start making payments or when I start tracking my expenses, it can show the remaining amount in that category or that a bill has been paid. So I like EveryDollar too, because I'm able to kind of keep track of both in case I forget to write my expenses down in my budget planner. I have the EveryDollar app as well, and that kind of helps me stay on point. The next thing that is a great method that we've implemented that has helped is finding ways to be frugal and to keep from overspending. This is a huge one as far as groceries are concerned, and trying to do more things that will help save money in areas that you find that you will overspend in. For example, with me or my family, groceries and eating out are categories that we both have more control over not really groceries at this point because of inflation, but there's always things that you can find to lower your expenses, such as couponing, which I'm working on getting better with that, as well as meal planning to help with keeping your meals to a certain system. So that way, if you have a certain week where you're busy or where you would tend to eat out, you have meal planned everything out, and that way it'll prevent you from really utilizing the eating out category so that more of your money can go to your groceries and your meal planning. So that has helped, and I'm still trying to get better in that area. The next or last thing that has helped me with the method as far as budgeting is to be flexible. Being flexible that things will change and that nothing has to ever be exactly one way, but just learning how to experiment and finding ways that work, ways that don't work. I've tried multiple methods before, and this method seems to be working for me at the moment and my family. So these are just different things that I've implemented so far that has helped me along my budgeting journey, and I hope it helps someone out there. And stay tuned for the next video, which will be our struggles in our budgeting journey. So please go ahead, and I'm tagging Budgeting My Abundance, so please check her video as well. And also all of the ODBJ ladies who have done videos, please go ahead and support and check them out in their videos. And I will see you all in my next video. So until then, stay blessed. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.